Look, I love a good halal cart chicken bowl. I just love this one better. This is the halal cart chicken bowl that you don't have to wait in line for, and you control the power of the flavor, meaning you can do whatever you want with this. You can add stuff to it, you can take it away, you can just make one element of it, not the other element. But this is the blueprint to making a halal cart chicken bowl that is so good, it might have you rethinking ever going to another place again to pick up your own. So that being said, let's make this, shall we? We're gonna start by marinating our meat, then we'll make our rice and sauces, prep our accoutrement, cook the meat, assemble, and serve. We have a beautiful chicken bowl that you can't have without chicken, obviously. So we're gonna start with 2 pounds of chicken breast. Just kidding! What is this? Preschool? We're all adults here, okay? We use chicken thighs. Oh, I don't like dark meat. Shut up. All right, if you wanna use chicken breast, you can. 2 pounds of it. But the point is, chicken thighs are far better. They're juicier, they're extremely hard to overcook, but also there's so much more flavor and just fatty deliciousness that go way better with this bowl. If that hasn't convinced you, then fine, use your breast. So you're gonna cut this chicken, honestly, just bite-sized pieces, however big your mouth is, right? So it could be 1/2 inch pieces, could be 1 inch pieces. We're probably gonna go a little closer to maybe like 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, just something kind of small so that it's just easy to pick up with a fork and toss in your mouth. So throw that into a bowl, and then I want you to repeat that with all of your chicken thigh. So once that's done, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, 1/2 teaspoon of fresh ground black peppercorn, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne. I know there's a lot, trust me here. 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and optionally, if you want, 1/4 cup of a nice quality harissa. Then you're just gonna get in there with a glove or your bare hands, doesn't really matter, just wash your hands. I want you to massage that and almost like knead it like a nice dough until everything's thoroughly coated. Make sure to get underneath, fold over, get underneath, fold over, squeeze it all together. It's super important that you get this sort of marinade evenly spread over every single piece of chicken, because when it's marinating, anything that's not covered in the marinade will not marinate, at least not well. I mean, look at this, it's like a beautiful, rich red. Smells amazing. It looks spicy, but I promise you it is not too spicy at all. You can always omit the cayenne if you're really worried about it. You could even omit the harissa if you're really worried about it. Now, just don't be a baby, come on. Cover that with plastic wrap. And you can cook this right away if you want, if you don't have time. But if you think ahead, set this in the fridge to marinate at least overnight, up to 2 days though. If you're gonna make rice, the first thing you need to do is make the rice, which really means to wash the rice. So we have 2 cups of a nice basmati rice. I've got my rice cooker here. I'm just gonna put it directly into the bowl, but I'm not gonna cook it yet. I'm gonna take it over to the sink. You're gonna run some water in there, fill it up like 2 times the amount of volume water, it doesn't matter. I just cover it with water, and then I want you to agitate the rice. Get it nice and cloudy and milky, and at this point, you'll carefully tip it out like this. Go nice and slow. You might be like, oh my God, the rice is gonna fall out. Because of the friction of the rice up against the wall and the surface tension of the water will actually pour out before the rice dumps out. A few grains might pop out, but it's fine. And then you're gonna repeat that 2 to 3 times or until the water runs clear. So on the last one, dump the water out one final time. All right, so now I'm gonna spread the rice so it's one even flat layer, no lumps that are higher than the other. I don't want a mountainous terrain in here, I want one flat plain. And then to this rice, we're going to add a combination of 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of MSG, and 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Then you're gonna add equal parts chicken stock, not water, chicken stock. It's absolutely critical for the flavor, okay? You can even give it a little stir to make sure that everything's nicely incorporated. Nothing's getting left out. Place that in to your rice cooker, and then turn that bad boy on. Let's make our sauces. There are 2 main sauces here that are extremely important. The white sauce, which is absolutely non-negotiable. But the sauce that everybody's afraid of, that I think is the key to perfecting this bowl, is the red sauce, the hot sauce. But oftentimes it's a little too spicy. We've mellowed ours out while maximizing the flavors. So we're gonna start with small saucepan, 1 cup of water, and 10 chili de árbol, dried, of course. You're gonna crank the heat on high and then just bring that to a boil. You're gonna boil that just until they're totally softened. It'll happen fast, like 3 to 4 minutes. Now, while that's boiling, you can come over to your blender here and you're gonna add half a cup of harissa, which frankly, like harissa's not that spicy. It depends on which one you buy. There are many that are really sweet and smoky and not spicy at all. And there are some that are really, really spicy. So just make sure you find a brand that doesn't kill your taste buds. But this one, the spice level of this harissa, I'd give it like a 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. It's not too hot at all. Oh, maybe a 3.5. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of sugar. That's gonna sweeten it up, but it's also gonna mellow it out. 3 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar. Some acidity will also help mellow out the heat. And then 2 cloves of garlic. You can also up that to 4 if you want. And a generous pinch of salt. Now we're gonna wait for our chili to arbol. All right, you'll know these are done boiling when they are just soft enough to tear easily. So if they don't tear easily, let them keep going until that happens. Now, once they're done, you're gonna pour all of that, the chilies and all the water into your blender, and you're gonna blend that on high speed until as smooth as possible. All right, once that's done being blended, I would not recommend breathing that in. Now, if you want it extra smooth, you could run this through a fine mesh sieve. You don't have to, but it will make the sauce look a little cleaner and less lumpy, if that's something you care about. But there is an eating benefit, which is you won't be biting into actual seeds. So you put that through the fine mesh strainer and you just kind of push it through with the back end of a spoon until all of that's passed through. I mean, look, that works pretty good. You got all this sauce down here, and then all that's left, that's all the seeds, the dried bits that didn't quite blend fully. And now that's out of your sauce, and you're left with a beautiful, clean, smooth sauce. Dude, look how different that straining made this sauce look. Now this is your opportunity to taste it, and just make sure the salt levels are good. So if you want a little more salt, add it now, because this is your last chance. All right. Now, the white sauce. A lot of people wonder what the white sauce is made out of, and a lot of people think it's a yogurt sauce or something. Not really, no, it's pretty much just straight mayo. Look at the back of the packet. What is it, like 20 grams of fat for a packet? Most people are doing 2 of those, 40 grams of fat. You'll become a big dog if you start eating that too many times. That said, the first ingredient, 3/4 of a cup of mayo. And this is where I got a little interesting here. I wanted sort of a creamy dairy element with a little bit of sourness, but not as sour as yogurt. So I went for sour cream, half a cup of sour cream. I also was thinking like, what do people have in their pantry? And my brain is like, oh, I really want to put creme fraiche, but not everyone has creme fraiche. But more people will probably have sour cream or at least easier access to it. Half a teaspoon of sugar just to curb a little bit of that acidity, also bring a little bit of sweetness out of it. Half a teaspoon of MSG, generous pinch of salt, 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 2 teaspoons of vinegar. So that's bringing a citrusiness and it's bringing just straight plain acidity. 1 clove of grated garlic, and then just a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. Give that a whisk until thoroughly combined. Now, if we did this correctly, this should look like white sauce. Wow, that actually looks exactly like it. Give it a little taste. I mean, that's kind of it. Season with a little more salt if it needs it, a little bit more pepper, and that is a beautiful white sauce. That's it. Super easy. Okay, next, the tomatoes. We're doing something a little bit different. You can just dice these and throw them in the bowl and you can just skip this part of the video, but I wanna do something a little more special, okay? And it requires very little extra effort. You're already taking the effort to slice them, take an extra minute or less to do this next part. So first, obviously we're gonna dice them, so remove their tops. Now there's a few ways you can dice a tomato like this. One way I actually like that is a little sacrilegious is I wanna cut out that sort of like core with all the seeds. I just don't need all that. You can keep it if you want, but I personally like to scrape out all that jelly. Like, that's gross, bro. It's just not the texture I want in this dish. And then just repeat that. So you cut along sort of the outside of it, kind of like you're unrolling a pepper, and just kind of carve out that little core. And then any sort of jelly bits, you just kind of push out. Okay, now we can dice. So we just flatten those bad boys out, and then now we can get a proper dice on these tomatoes. So you're gonna cut them into 1/2-inch batons, then 1/2 inch the other way. All right, put those into a bowl. Now, like I said, you could call it a day here, just put them on your fucking bowl, that's fine. But if you wanna take an extra step while you finish assembling the rest of your bowl, it would be really nice if you season them with just a touch of salt and a little extra virgin olive oil to dress, and just give them a little toss. That's it, you don't need to do much. All this does is add a little bit of richness, add a little bit of seasoning to it. I always say season your tomatoes. These are now going to cure, they're going to marinate in their own salty juices. Okay, cooking our chicken, you can do this in a pan, you can do this on a grill. If you're gonna do it on a grill, I would recommend doing skewer so it doesn't fall through the grates. You could also do it on a flat top. Flat top works great for this kind of chicken, big pan, whatever. Do it in batches, cook it in a single layer. I'll stop talking. Medium-high heat, little bit of vegetable oil to coat, and you're gonna layer your chicken on, ideally in one even layer. You wanna try to avoid, just the chicken swimming in its own juices, otherwise you won't get any real good color on it. All right, you can see how this is all in one even layer. Try not to mound them too much on top of each other, otherwise you won't get any good color. Now, you're gonna let that sear for about 2-3 minutes, then we'll check it. After about 1 to 2 minutes, you want some nice Maillard, maybe a little bit of char. A little bit of char is fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, it's burnt. No, it's fine. Now you're gonna give it a flip, reduce the heat to medium, and then just let that finish cooking on the other side. You can continue to turn them and toss them until they're fully cooked through at least a minimum temperature of 165 Fahrenheit. The beauty of thighs is you can let this continue to cook and they'll just get more tender, so it's really hard to overcook these. All right, once your chicken is fully cooked, place it on a landing tray and repeat with the rest of your chicken. Now, once all your chicken's totally cooked, you're gonna grate 1 clove of garlic over the chicken. This is optional. I would highly recommend it. And then you're just going to toss that together. All this is gonna do is just add a ridiculous garlicky fragrance to this that won't even taste like overwhelming garlic. It'll just add to the overall experience. I'm telling you, it's like mixing with the chicken fat and the spices, and it smells insane. It smells insane. Once your rice is done, pop that bad boy open. Woo-wee! Look at that, dude. So first of all, look how beautiful this rice is. It smells absolutely beautiful. It smells fragrant of cumin and garlic, and there's just an unctuousness to it I can't even describe. Now, while you're fluffing this, I do want you to add 2 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter, cut into little cubes so it melts a little more easily. So as you're fluffing it, what will happen is that butter's gonna melt and enrobe this rice. So it's gonna do 2 things. It's gonna prevent the rice from sticking, but it's also gonna taste really good. Just gently fold that to avoid breaking the rice too much. Now we're ready to serve. To serve, lay down a generous layer of your golden rice, followed by a nice pile of your chicken, shredded lettuce, a spoonful of your seasoned tomatoes. You can also add a little more rice if you want. Now you could serve your sauces on the side, but I much prefer to drizzle with each of your sauces. First the white sauce and then the red sauce. Always go a little lighter on the red sauce because the more red you add, the spicier it'll get. Now just serve that with a few pieces of pita on the side if you like, and enjoy. Look at this. Upon first glance, you might go, well, this just looks like a standard halal cart meal. And in many ways it is. I mean, that was the goal here, right? Except the goal is to make it so supremely delicious that you want to make it at home. But the other benefit is obviously you can make the individual elements. You could just make the rice. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Let's see how good it actually is. Get a little bit of everything. Guys, I know that we don't really do but better anymore, and this wasn't intended to be about better, but this is better than just about any halal cart meal I've ever had. It is so deeply, deeply flavorful. The chicken has a little bit of heat. It's so rich and unctuous. I like halal guys, right? But they specify no MSG, big mistake. Second of all, I think that their chicken is a little bit subdued in flavor and it really relies on the sauce. This chicken stands alone, supremely flavorful, but then you throw this creamy, rich sauce, the spicy, vinegary sauce, it comes together as just this like massive explosion of flavor. You're not missing a single beat, seasoned perfectly. The rice is flavorful. The rice is an amazing texture. It's not overcooked like a lot of other places because the rice is sitting there all day. It's actually got some chew to it. And then the tomatoes are like bursting. I mean, these are just regular store-bought tomatoes, but these taste like some of the best tomatoes I've ever had just because they were seasoned a little bit. And then obviously the freshness from the lettuce. And all that is to say, you have the pita too, if you want pita, right? But honestly, this is so good, I don't even want it. I guess you could stuff it in here and wrap it and eat it if you want, but like, this is amazing on its own. So pita is optional, in my opinion. Pita. Oh, pita. Probably gonna cut that, I hope. Kind of outdid ourselves on this one, guys. Recipes in the link in the description. It's free for everybody. You can print it out, go get it, it's fine. I love you, subscribe, bye.